I agree with Costa, and I see exactly the same thing. We're talking predominantly to directors and executives because it's a strategic decision with the volume of automation that Zap can deliver. And because it's very strategic, exactly as Costa said, people are hesitant because it's a very drastic decision, right? Now, my argument to that is very simple. If you look at the automation process, we evolved into basically two main roles. You have a subject matter expert that knows the process, what needs to be automated. Regardless, it's an operational subject matter expert or the DevOps testing manual tester. Rec Studio allows subject matter experts just to record a desktop video, and it's a AI agents basically transition it from the video to the textual format later to the source code automatically, and you have an automator. So this is the sensitive knowledge for any organization, the knowledge of SME, what needs to be automated, right? And Costa, you probably confirm you talk to clients as much as I'm talking to my customers. Basically, in corporate America, in a good state, 50% has been documented, but 50 and up haven't been documented. And as you said, everything moving so fast, everything develops so fast. So requirements are being generated and updated so fast, right? Organizations don't have technology and processes to catch up with all that. So we're offering them ability to transfer their knowledge to AI through the easy to comprehend recorder. Another important phase in the process is actual coding, developing code and making code ready for execution. So if we'll take Automator on that side, one of the most time-consuming and skill-sensitive factors, it's recording itself. It's a programming skill, right? Especially in the testing or the business operation automation, because we're a gray area of the SDLC. Our mission as automators is to be liaison between the non-technical personnel, which is the SMEs that don't know the coding, right? And basically developers that may be heavy coders, right? So we're somewhere in between. But nevertheless, we need to use all the frameworks and all the methodologies of the coding and the software developer to build a robust automation framework. So again, one of the most sensitive skills is coding. We offer agentic automation, which you don't even need to have a human involved in the very tedious phases of automation. Does it all automatically, right? So for the executive echelon of decision makers, this is clear proof that we're giving you technology that augments the most sensitive skills in the process between the knowledge transfer and automation itself. Does that make sense? With Rec Studio, you can record business workflows directly and let ZAPTEST turn them into automation, a reinvented playback approach. With AI Copilot, you get ad hoc AI assistance in scripting and customization outside of Plan Studio for those unique cases where manual refinement is needed.
Yeah, so Costa, curious to get your point of view. When I started, this sounds like the model Alex is proposing, where most people were subject matter experts and I was the only automator. And then all of a sudden in the 2000s, later in 2000, it became everyone's a developer now, everyone's an automator, and subject matter experts seem to me not to be as much emphasis. And now it seems like it's going back to the way it was, as more subject matter experts and less automation. And I did an on-site event in Chicago, and I asked people to raise their hand, anyone that did any sort of vibe testing, vibe coding, to try to get to understand it. Only 4 people raised their hand out of 95, and 2 of them were people that created tooling. So I guess my question is, where are we? Is this the model that Alex is talking about? Is that correct? And am I wrong? People that didn't raise their hand are correct. They should be more subject matter experts and not even care about the technology or what it's doing. Like, what's the model that you've been seeing that's working now?
Yeah, I agree. The trend is definitely exactly as you describe. I mean, I was one of those automators back in the day. I think I started on LoadRunner. It was either LoadRunner, probably LoadRunner 2.0. I think 1.0 was before my time, but I've seen that same trend. And so, yes, we've seen, SDETs are huge, right? So we saw a huge, surge with everyone trying to get SDETs and that's the way. And I even saw some organizations, I won't mention their names, that completely got rid of all of the domain experts. And they just, they only had SDETs or developers doing all the testing, and that failed miserably, in every case that I have seen anyway, because they realized they needed those domain experts, right? The SDETs didn't understand the applications well enough. So we're definitely seeing a huge swing back to that. And definitely with the advent of AI, I think that is the way. The question is, about timing. I don't think it's a question of if, I think it's a question of when. And I feel like, I just feel like, I'm so far ahead of everyone else, right? We're just having to kind of pull people along. There's a lot of this hesitation and not wanting to really try things. So, I feel like we're a bit early. This is just how it just feels to me, right? We're just so early and so way ahead. And I feel like there's this this buildup that's happening right now, and we will see an explosion at some point, right? It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, where things will really swing to this, where we're just having domain experts do no code, low code, solutions, and it'll work fantastically. So.
Costa, I agree with you. We are very early. But this feeling is very familiar to me because all my career I was like a blue man telling people what's going to happen day after tomorrow. Because I used to work with R&D and fly in the Mercury days to work with the guys right in the kitchen. And coming back to the engagement and explaining to teams of customers of Mercury, wait, we're going to build the architecture this way. Because Quick Test Professional, a new tool that coming up, replacing WinRunner, that will have an object repository, something like that. Very familiar with that. But I can tell you we have a mission. We have to be patient with the industry. We have to be patient. Being denied and not understood. Because it's our mission to tell people what is common, what we see and what we understand.
So Costa, when Alex talks about we need to be patient, a big word in our industry is ROI. With your framework, do you help maybe come up with some sort of ROI for agentic automation that people can start maybe measuring to see, okay, let's start doing these baby steps, but let's move forward. What can we do to actually measure to see how we're doing, how we can improve and actually move the ball forward and be patient, but also use data to help, make decisions rather than panic or go with just hype?
Music to my ears, Joe. So that is the central basis of the feasibility framework is ROI. It's not the only factor, but it is a huge factor. So one of the key components that I established is that each criteria has its own weighting. So you may have, a certain criteria number one has 10% weighting and so on and so forth. ROI is usually up there in 100% weighting, equal weighting. Because again, every criteria is not as important as the next, but certainly ROI is central to this. In fact, it's so important that we have our own ROI calculator, and there's lots of ROI calculators out there. Just do a search on it. There's custom versions, and it can get really complicated if you're if you're into math and statistics, but the gist of it is what's important, and again, lots of we use a lot of these ROI calculators just for regular test automation, right? Even before AI. So same principle applies, just use whatever flavor. You don't have to overthink it and get complicated.